Do you want your baby to start talking at an early age? Unfolding the power of early communication, we find it to be a key that can unlock a world of benefits for your little one. It's not just about the joy of hearing those first words, but also about fostering cognitive development, emotional bonding, and laying a solid foundation for future learning. Think of it this way. Early communication is like the first few bricks in the construction of a grand, beautiful building. These bricks are integral to the structure, its stability, and its overall form. Similarly, early communication forms the bedrock of your child's cognitive and emotional growth, shaping their understanding of the world and their place within it. So, how does this work? Well, when babies start communicating from an early age, they're not just learning to talk. They're also learning to think, to process information, to express their feelings, and to understand the feelings of others. This lays the groundwork for essential skills like problem solving, empathy, and emotional intelligence. But don't just take our word for it. Numerous studies and experts in the field of child development back up these claims. For instance, child education specialist Alfie Kohn emphasizes the importance of valuing children for their present selves and engaging them in specially crafted games and activities. This approach, which can be found on www.skillsllc.com, aims to revolutionize traditional methods of education, making learning enjoyable and meaningful for children. In essence, early communication is like a seed that, when nurtured, blossoms into a tree of knowledge, empathy, and understanding. It's a powerful tool that can shape your child's future, helping them become confident, compassionate, and curious individuals. Now that we know why it's beneficial, let's dive into the steps you can take to encourage your baby to start talking early. The first step to teaching your baby to talk is creating a language-rich environment. A language-rich environment is one where words, conversations, and narratives are part and parcel of everyday life. It's like turning your home into a mini language laboratory where your baby can experiment with sounds, words, and sentences. But how do you go about creating such an environment? It's actually quite simple. Start by talking to your baby often. You might feel a bit silly at first, chatting away to a tiny human who can't yet respond, but rest assured, your baby is listening, absorbing, and learning. Describe what you're doing as you change their diaper, feed them, or even while doing household chores. This constant narration is much more than just background noise. It's the soundtrack to your baby's language development. Reading books together is another wonderful way to create a language-rich environment. Even before your baby can understand the words, they're picking up on the rhythm and melody of language. As they grow older, books become a gateway to new words and ideas. And remember, it's not just about reading the words on the page. It's also about discussing the pictures, asking questions, and making connections to your baby's own experiences. Another tip is to sing to your baby. Music and language are closely linked, and songs are a fun and engaging way to introduce new words. Don't worry if you're not the next pop sensation. Your baby will love hearing your voice regardless. In creating a language-rich environment, you're not just teaching your baby how to talk. You're also showing them that communication is a fundamental part of human interaction. You're teaching them that their voice matters, that their thoughts and feelings are important. A language-rich environment is the foundation for early speech. But what else can you do to encourage your baby to start talking? Well, stay tuned, because in the next scene, we'll be exploring the role of gestures and body language in early communication. Another essential step is using gestures and body language. It's not all about the words. The way we move and express ourselves plays a significant role in communication. This is especially true for babies who are just starting to explore the fascinating world of language. Let's take a look at some of the common gestures that can help in early communication. A simple yet effective gesture is pointing. When you point at an object and name it, your baby can associate the word with the object. For example, while pointing at a ball, you might say, ball. Over time, your little one will start to understand that the word ball refers to that round, bouncy thing you've been pointing at. Waving is another gesture that can be incorporated into daily interactions. A wave accompanied by a cheerful hello or goodbye not only teaches your baby these common greetings, but also the social etiquette associated with them. Nodding is a slightly more advanced gesture, but it's never too early to start. By nodding yes and shaking your head for no, you can begin to introduce your baby to the concept of agreement and disagreement. These nonverbal cues can be very helpful, especially when your baby starts asking endless questions. Remember, it's not just about teaching your baby to understand these gestures, but also encouraging them to use them. When your baby starts waving, pointing, or nodding, be sure to acknowledge and respond enthusiastically. This positive reinforcement can motivate your little one to continue using these gestures, thereby enhancing their communication skills. In addition to these, there are many other gestures like clapping, hugging, and even simple facial expressions that can be used to communicate with your baby. It's all about being expressive and interactive, making the process of learning language enjoyable for your little one. Gestures and body language are great tools for early communication, but there are more techniques you can use to encourage your baby to talk. The next step is learning how to respond to your baby's cues. Just like us adults, babies have their own unique ways of communicating. They may not be able to form words yet, but they certainly know how to get their message across. It's crucial that we learn to recognize and respond to these cues, as it plays a significant role in encouraging early communication. Let's take a moment to think about it. When your baby is hungry, they might cry, smack their lips, or suck on their hands. If they're tired, they may rub their eyes or become fussy. These are all nonverbal cues, signals that your baby is trying to communicate something to you. But how does responding to these cues help in teaching your baby to talk? Well, when you respond to your baby's cues, you're showing them that their actions have meaning and can elicit a response. This understanding is the foundation of communication. So, if your baby is crying because they're hungry, you might say, "You're hungry, aren't you? Let's get you some milk." Even though your baby doesn't understand the words yet, they start associating the sound of your voice and the words you're saying with the action of feeding. Over time, as you consistently respond to their cues with words, they'll begin to understand that these sounds, these words, have meaning. This is also an excellent opportunity to introduce new words and sounds. Respond to your baby's cues with a variety of words. If they're reaching for a toy, you might say, "You want the teddy bear? Here's your teddy bear." This not only validates their actions, but also exposes them to new words, further encouraging language development. Remember, patience is key. It'll take some time for your baby to make the connection between words and their meanings. But by consistently responding to their cues and associating actions with words, you're laying the groundwork for their language skills. Responding to your baby's cues is a powerful way to encourage communication. But there's one more step you can take to teach your baby to talk. The final step is incorporating play into learning. Now, this might sound like pure fun and games, and in many ways it is. But it's also a powerful tool for learning and communication. Why? Because play is the language of children. It's how they explore, understand, and make sense of the world around them. Let's dive right into some examples of play activities that can encourage your baby to talk. One of the most classic games we all know is peekaboo. It's a simple yet effective game that not only brings joy and laughter, but also encourages anticipation, understanding of object permanence, and most importantly, communication. As you hide and reappear saying peekaboo, your baby will start responding, trying to mimic the sounds. Next, let's talk about singing songs. Songs are a fantastic way to introduce language rhythm and vocabulary. The repetition and melody in songs capture baby's attention, making it easier for them to pick up words. Plus, the joy of singing together creates a positive association with language learning. Lastly, using toys to stimulate conversation can be incredibly effective. Imagine a simple scenario where you're playing with a toy car. You can make the car sounds, say, vroom vroom, or narrate its journey. The car's going up the hill, now it's going down. This creates an interactive play session where your baby is not just playing, but also listening, learning, and eventually participating in the conversation. Remember, the goal is not to turn playtime into a structured classroom session, but to weave learning into the natural, joyful process of play. This way, your baby's first experiences with language are positive, engaging, and fun. Incorporating play into learning is a fun and effective way to teach your baby to talk. With these steps, you are well on your way to helping your baby communicate at an early age. Let's recap the steps to teaching your baby to talk at an early age. We started by understanding the power of early communication, highlighting the importance of speaking to your baby from day one. We then delved into creating a language-rich environment, filling your baby's world with a variety of sounds, words, and conversations. Next, we discussed the role of gestures and body language, teaching you how to use nonverbal cues to aid your baby's understanding of language. We followed this with the importance of responding to your baby's cues, reinforcing their efforts to communicate and encouraging further exploration of language. Lastly, we touched on the essence of incorporating play into learning, using specially crafted games and activities to make the learning process enjoyable and meaningful. Remember, every baby is unique and develops at their own pace. Don't rush the process, and most importantly, enjoy this special time with your baby. For more resources, visit www.skillsllc.com. Thanks for watching.